Hi, honeys. It's Michelle and Marty, and we're here today to talk to you about my favorite cozy mystery series. Plural. Series is. And please don't mind me. I'm going to be looking down here a lot. Those are my notes. I need notes. It just is what it is. So, cozy mysteries are also called cozies. And I wanted to write down a little bit about what they are. Cozy mysteries are a subgenre of crime fiction in which sex and violence occur offstage. The detective is an amateur sleuth, and the crime and detection tend to take place in a small, socially intimate community. So maybe think of Nancy Drew, Agatha Christie, Murder, She Wrote, that kind of mystery. I tend to really like it because it reminds me of, some of the James Stewart or Bette Davis movies that I love so much, where, they just they kiss and then the door closes and you can use your imagination about what's going on. I find my imagination is more exciting than when I'm actually reading about these things or even seeing them. I'd rather imagine things. And then in those movies I just mentioned, it's the same thing with the murder that happens. It's like you hear somebody scream and then maybe you see that somebody's landed down at the bottom, they fell, but it's not real bloody or gory. It's not scary at all. In these books, people tend to, where did I write that? They tend to die by maybe being strangled or poisoned, or maybe like being pushed. Or if they are shot or stabbed, it's not gory at all. You don't really get a chance to hear too much of the details. Let's see. Now, the sleuths in these books are usually women, and they're usually middle-aged women. Occasionally they're younger, but usually I'd say they're about my age. These books tend to involve pets, hobbies, or a job that the story revolves around. So an example might be, these books might be about a woman who's a librarian, and things happen in the library or around the library or out in the town, but the book kind of revolves around her life in the library. Or maybe it's a woman who has a cat and the cat tends to help her solve crimes. Or maybe she's a knitter and her knitting circle, they all help brainstorm with her and figure out who did it. And sometimes these books can have holiday themes as well. But usually it's kind of the ongoing joke that, everywhere she goes, a body turns up. And for some reason, the detectives tend to really not give these ladies as hard of a time as they would in real life. Like if I went out and actually tried to solve some crimes in my city, I'm pretty sure that the detectives would not respond anywhere near as well as they do in the books to me butting my nose into what they're doing. But there's just this beautiful, warm, cozy feel to these books that I love. I cannot tell you how much I love them. These books just bring about an appreciation of the finer things in life. They remind me of the blessings. They really center around food, friends, decor, cooking, the towns that people live in, their families, their pets, their hobbies, fashion. And you're going to love this, especially right now. There's no politics in these books. And if there is, it's maybe somebody's running for mayor and they get killed or something, but you don't hear what party they're in or what their ideas are. It's such a nice escape from living in this day and age. You don't really hear a whole lot about the internet or cell phones either. Not saying that you don't ever. There's certain books where you would a little bit more, but usually it's just kind of an escape from all of it. And it's just going into a world where everything just feels better. Kind of like the Golden Girls or something. Okay, so now that I've told you what they are and why I love them, I wanted to talk to you about the different series. I've read quite a few of them for a while. I'm not going to say professional, I wasn't paid, but I had about a 3-year stint where I did book reviews for authors in the cozy mystery genre, and they would send me their books for free in exchange for a honest review. And I used to do these reviews on Goodreads and Amazon and Barnes and Noble and that kind of stuff. And at some point, the group of people trying to get the books got pretty large, and because I had done so many of them, they kind of gave me every book I asked for. And I started feeling kind of bad because there's some people that, couldn't afford the books and just really wanted to get free books. And here I am taking them away because they only pick so many people. And I wanted to start reading other books too, not just cozy mysteries. But for about 3 years there, that's all I read. And it was this huge thing where I just, that's what I did, was review them. And I had a lot of fun. But because of that, I've read so many of the different series. I can't say I've read all of them by any means, because there's, if you're not familiar with them, it's a huge genre. It's kind of like Harlequin romance novels. There's so many different authors and series, and if you're not into it, you don't know about it, but if you are, you know. So I wanted to tell you what my favorite series that I have read are after all this reviewing that I've done. So I should probably tell you the book that started it all. Brad, that's my husband, in case you're new here. I'm just talking to the camera. Talking about you.
I thought you said Brad.
I did.
Oh.
As I was saying, Brad, that's my husband, in case this is your first time here. Welcome. He and I were flying home. We used to live in Florida. We were flying home to Seattle for Christmas one year. And I wanted to get, gosh, I want to say it was, what year would that have been? It was a long time ago. Or actually, let's see. I think it was 2014, because this book was on the new best-selling bookshelf at the airport, and I wanted a fun book to read on the plane. I'd never heard of cozy mysteries at the time, and it was one of those situations where we're in Florida, so it's still hot, but we have all these, heavy clothes for the snow that we're about to encounter. And I remember I had a jacket and just all kinds of stuff, and I'm trying to carry it. We're both hot and grouchy and trying to get to the plane, and I had the idea that I had to stop and get a book. And so I stopped, and I was looking through all these books, and I wanted a mystery, and the cover of this book is what really drew me in. It's the Diva Wraps It Up, and the author is Krista Davis. And this is not the first book in this series. It is, doesn't say. Should say somewhere on here. Okay, this is Diva Wraps It Up. Okay. This is the 8th book in the series. So I had the entire book read before we flew home. I loved the book so much. At night, I couldn't wait to go to bed, even though we were having fun with my family. I couldn't wait to go to bed at night and read more. So then we had to stop at Barnes & Noble on the way back to the airport so I could get another one of her books. And that's when I bought the first one in the series. I ended up reading the entire series. And that's when I decided to try to review these, because there's something so special about them to me. And so I was doing some searches about the author, and that's when I found this group that, you know, I could sign up with to do the reviews. Anyway, so this series, I don't want to cover up Marty. Okay, there we go. This series has 13 books, and there's a 14th one coming out in 2021. I have not bought the 13th one yet. It's still in hardcover, and my entire series is in softcover, so I'm waiting for the softcover to come out to buy it. These books are about a lady named Sophie Winston. She lives in a small town, it's a small town in Virginia. I think it's Alexandria. And we get to read what? Okay. Sorry, Alexandria is a city. So I guess when I said these usually takes place in a small town, I was wrong, except this feels like a small town because she seems to know everybody that lives there. Or she has a circle of people that she knows. And it's really fun to read about this small town feel of the city and the different houses there and how beautiful it is. There's cobblestone walkways and that kind of stuff. So it's really neat to read this series. Now she's got an ex-husband, and her best friend is living with her ex-husband. And she's also got her parents and a sibling in town, I think. And she's friends with her neighbors, and it's just really fun. I love the characters in these books. She does live alone with a dog and a cat, and she does a bunch of cooking, which, you know, I like that. I love reading about cooking and all the ingredients and how they smell. And this house that she lives in, it seems like the kind of house I would want to live in. So reading about the way it's decorated and the way it feels, the way it smells, everything just is perfect for me. She does a lot of entertaining. A lot of people come to her house to talk, and she'll end up just so happen to have made a rhubarb pie, and she's got, you know, a few slices left. So she's going to bring those out with some ice cream and make some tea or something. It's just so fun reading the way that her life is. Now, Sophie is not just a cooker. She also does entertaining and catering, and she does get paid for that. And she also writes, I think it's an article for a newspaper. It's not a magazine. I think it's a newspaper, where she gives advice on kind of like a Dear Abby kind of thing, but in an entertaining or cooking kind of way. So that's really fun. And I definitely recommend this one. This is the one that started it all for me, this series. Now, the same author also wrote this series. It's called Paws and Claws. There's 6 books in this one, and there's a new book coming out in 2021 of this series as well. The main character is Holly Miller, and the way that this series starts out, there's an emergency, and she goes to stay at her grandmother's family inn called the Sugar Maple Inn, and it's in a fictitious town called Wagtail, Virginia. And this inn and the town around it it's like a tourist area for pet lovers. And so the whole town and the inn are all geared towards pet lovers going on vacation and bringing their pets along. And it's really creative and fun to read how it's all put together. It's a super cute town. The people that work at the inn are fun. It feels cozy. I know, cheesy, but it does. It feels very cozy. There's something magical about the end for me. It feels like somewhere that I would want to go just to get away, you know, especially maybe for a holiday or something, you know, get away for Christmas, just me and Brad and our pets. It does. It just feels very special. Somewhere that I would love to stay. I don't want to live there, but I want to stay there. And I forgot to mention, there's recipes at the end of every book that she mentions in the book. She'll put the recipes at the end of the book with these books and with these ones. So both series. So Krista Davis is my favorite cozy mystery author. She was the first one I ever read, and she still is my favorite one. My next favorite is this. It's called the Year-Round Christmas Series by Vicki Delaney. There's 5 books in this series, and it just came out, the 5th book. And I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but it's a Christmas book, so I'm going to probably read it next month. I would have to say, though, I've read these throughout the year, and I love them. I've read most of them more than once. The main character is named Mary Wilkinson, M-E-R-R-Y, and she lives in Rudolph, New York. Rudolph, New York is a Christmas town. Everything in it is Christmas themed. So people can come there any time of the year and experience Christmas. Kind of like what you might imagine going to the North Pole as being. She owns a Christmas decor shop, and it's fun reading about all the different ornaments and how she sets up the shop, and just different nutcrackers and trees and lights and all these beautiful things that she has in there. It kind of reminds me of when I used to work at the San Francisco Music Box Company, just all these beautiful little gifts and home decor items that you can find in there. And then she's got a cute dog, and she lives in an apartment on like the top floor of an old house. She's got friends and family, and the people in the town are really fun to read about. And she's single, and she's looking for love. So that's always kind of a fun little addition to these books. I will say I find these a little bit more suspenseful than a lot of the cozy mysteries, as far as it's hard to put her books down. I can't wait to find out who did it. And I just really love the characters too, and the town, and everything else about the books. That's probably why I've read them all more than once. I think all of them I've read more than once. So I definitely recommend these. I just figured I'd grab one book from each series to show you instead of like trying to hold them all up. The next series that I want to talk to you about is one that most people probably wouldn't think that I would read. I don't have a lot in common with the main character of these books, but this is the Ellie Avery Mystery Series by Sarah Rosette. There's 10 books in this series, and I really love this series, but one of the reasons that I'm mentioning there's these last 3 series, I don't believe that they have any new books, or I didn't until I started researching before the video. The last book in this series came out in 2018, so this might be it for Ellie Avery. But Ellie Avery is a military wife who moves around a lot with her husband, and she's got, I think it's 2 kids. So there's a lot of writing about her kids, being a mom, some of the trials and tribulations of parenting, and her kids are in the, I want to say one's in kindergarten and the other one's in 2nd or 3rd grade. So they're in that age group where it's kind of fun reading about, you know, bringing cookies to school, and I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I read the last one, a couple of years now, but helping her kids pick out scholastic books and making sure that there's enough glue for them to do their projects. And but then there's also these mysteries to go with them. And then there's some other moms that are catty. So it's fun. It's really fun to read these. I have a hard time putting these ones down too when I've read them. And one thing that's really fun about Ellie Avery is that not only does she move a lot, but she seems to travel a lot in her books. And so it's kind of fun because they're not always set in the same place. And as much as I love the towns in the other 3 series I mentioned, it's kind of fun when somebody's picking up going to other areas. I highly recommend these, even though I don't think there's any more coming out. They're just really fun and quick to read. That's the other thing I should probably mention about Cozy Mysteries. I think that they're all under 300 pages, I think. I think that's like a rule for them to actually be classified as a cozy mystery. And if you look at the font and size of these, it's just real easy to just read them quickly, which is always nice. They're great weekend books, vacation books, holiday books. I found out today when I was researching for this video, sorry about my nails, by the way, I didn't realize they were chipping. This is the Key West Food Critic series, and I just found out, I thought that this book was the last one, which I think this one was the 5th one, if I remember correctly. I thought it was the last one. So when I did a review for this book, I went and bought the other books in the series, and then I never heard about it again. So I didn't know that she has been coming out with them since then. And the last book came out in August. So now I'm excited, and I have some more books that I can try out because these are, they're really fun. So let me give you a close-up of this just so you can see. I love the artwork on these. Okay, these books are about a lady named Haley Snow who lives in Key West, and she's a food critic. So since she's in Key West, there's something kind of mystical about these books. And I don't know if you've ever been to Florida, but it's like a heaviness to the air, but it kind of adds an extra enchantment to things. And there's usually very beautiful green scenery, and of course the beaches, and all of that is in here. And there's really good food in Florida, so it makes sense that a food critic would live there. And sometimes the way that the food is prepared or the spices they use are a little bit different than other parts of the country or the world, so that's fun to read about. And Haley is also single, and she's got a bunch of friends. And so it's fun to read about her friends too, and just her lifestyle. And the stories aren't bad either. I really do like these books. And these books also have recipes in the back. So I definitely recommend trying this, especially if you want to feel like you got away. You want to read a murder mystery and feel like you went to Florida. Definitely read these. They're by Lucy Burdett. And then the last one I want to mention, and these are not being written anymore or wrote anymore, the Chili Cook-Off series by Kylie Logan. There's only 3 books in this series, and the last one was written in 2015. Which is really sad because I love these books. Of course, all I can think about when I'm reading them is eating chili. I want chili. I want chili dogs. I want chili hamburgers. I want baked potatoes with chili on them. I mean, I'm just thinking about all the different ways you can have chili and how wonderful chili is and how much I love chili. And you do get to read about different varieties of chili, different types of chilies, different types of jalapenos, different ways of, like different kinds of spices that you can use. I mean, it's really fun. And then the different types of heat. These books usually take place in Texas. Although I think one of them was in Vegas. Or was it this one? No, it was not this one. This one was in Texas. The main character in these books is Maxie Pierce, and her dad, Jack, and her half-sister, Sylvia, all run a family business where they go around to different chili showdowns, and they compete with other chili makers to have the best chili. People buy their chili, and it's just a fun, spicy, steamy series. Now, she's single, just like the other ladies. I think the only one that isn't single is Miss Ellie Avery, because she's got the husband in the military, but he's gone a lot. I think, logically, a woman would almost have to be single to be a sleuth like this, or have a military husband who's gone a lot. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I don't think my husband would be okay with me running around trying to solve murders in my spare time. He'd probably be worried about my safety. Whereas if I was single, I could do that and nobody would tell me not to. So I think that's why they're usually single women who are middle-aged, because, you know, us middle-aged ladies tend to be a little more nosy too, don't we? I'm sorry about that sound. That's me getting a text message. And I know it's November, but I'm already ready for Christmas. But with her being single, there tends to be, if I remember correctly, now 2015. So it's been a while since I read one of these, because this is another series where I think this was the book that was sent to me, and then I went and bought the other two. I think this is the last one that she came out with. But I went and got the other two. I read them all probably in a week or something. Really liked them and kept waiting. Oh, no, this is 2013. So this is not the one that was sent to me, because I got the last one, whichever one that one was. But when I read it, I went and got the other two books and then kept looking for the next one, and it never came out. Anyway, there usually tends to be a love interest or someone she's trying to break up with in these books. And it's not steamy, but it's a little more steamy and exciting, her love life, than the other books are. So please let me know. Have you read any of these series or any of the books in any of these series? Or have you read any of these authors? I would love to hear what you think, if you liked any of these books or the authors that wrote them. If you haven't read any cozy mysteries, let me know if after watching this video you're interested in reading one. And if you are you interested in reading any of these series, or are you going to find something else to read? Sorry, I don't know what it is. It's like my allergies. I keep feeling like somebody's going like this with a feather across my face. And so I'm kind of like, sorry. I don't know what that is. My other question is, if you've ever read any cozy mysteries, or if you're a cozy mystery fan, who's your favorite author? What's your favorite series? Let me know, because I'm always looking for books to add to my TBR, especially cozy mysteries, though. I just love them. Another thing I love about these, they are usually, they're what, $8 each in America, which isn't too terribly bad for a new book. It's a lot less than a lot of them are. But you can find these used online. You can find them in used bookstores. So that's always nice too. I don't trade books with people, because if I love a book, I hold on to it for the rest of my life, because I'm a, what do they call that? I can't remember the name of it, but there's a certain kind of book reader who will keep books for their whole lives and reread them multiple times if they like a book. That's me. thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope that you get to get some reading in and maybe get a nice amount of rest like Marty back here has been getting. I love you. Bye.